beyond belief. Fact or fiction? Hosted by Jonathan Frakes. Tonight, your challenge is to separate what is true from what is false. 5 stories, some real, some fake. Can you judge which are fact and which are fiction? To find out, you must enter a world of both truth and deception. A world that is beyond belief.
Certain people in our lives seem magical. It may be the way they talk, the way they affect how you feel, or the way they care for others. Connie Jenkins had all 3 of these traits. But she could best be summed up by her love for animals. Connie was drawn to stray creatures who needed her special kind of nurturing, especially birds. But Connie's was a selfless love. Once she mended their broken wings, she let them go. Connie's own spirit was much like one of her birds, brave, loving, and free. And because of her spirit, a very special story is about to be uncaged.
My wife Connie and I met and fell in love when we were only 15. We got married right out of high school. I loved everything about her. The way she walked, her sunny smile, and that she cared so much about all God's creatures. This story may seem unbelievable to you, but it really happened. And I have no explanation for it. And it all started with a perfect relationship and my special love for Connie. Connie was constantly finding injured animals and nursing them back to health. She was truly unique in every way, but the most magical thing about her was her voice and the beautiful way she talked.
Oh, you're gonna be all right, baby. Yeah, everything's gonna be just fine. What do you think we should call him, Dan?
Now, don't get too attached. As soon as that wing gets better, you gotta turn him loose. You know that.
I do, but why not enjoy him while we have him? I'm gonna call him Peppy.
Peppy?
And maybe someday you'll live up to that name, little darling.
That was my Connie. She was my darling, as she loved to call everyone. I started wood carving on my grandpa's knee when I was 5 years old. And I got pretty good at it, if I do say so myself. I decided to carve birds because I knew that would make Connie happy. After all, she always saw to it that I was happy.
There you go, darling. A nice cup of hot chamomile. That is so beautiful. Oh, hon, you're going to win the blue ribbon this year again. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I wish I was as sure as you are.
We just don't know how much talent you've got in these hands of yours.
Connie always had a way of making me feel good about being me. She was just that kind of person, didn't want anything for herself. All she wanted to do was give.
How's my little darling, huh? Oh, that ring's getting better every day. Yeah, pretty soon you're going to be leaving us. And I hate to see you go.
Hey. You okay?
Yeah. Nothing really.
Okay. But it wasn't nothing. The cough continued to get worse, and Connie ended up in the emergency room 1 week before our 18th wedding anniversary. The doctors called it a rare strain of viral pneumonia. Connie didn't respond to the antibiotics they gave her. And my angel died on the very day of our 18th anniversary. She had planned to nurse the bird back to health and then set it free. I would do it for her. As I stood there watching the bird regain its freedom, I said a little prayer for Connie's soul, hoping that it too would find its own freedom and peace. The months after Connie's funeral were the longest and hardest of my life. I tried to go back to my job with the Forest Service, but I just wasn't ready. I couldn't even carve. It only reminded me of her. My sleep was haunted by Connie's voice. I'd wake up thinking she was here, and then I'd realize I was dreaming. Everything I did continued to remind me of Connie. I was beginning to feel like I didn't want to go on without her. It was just that we'd been together so long, I was running on empty. And then the strangest thing happened. At first, I thought it was my imagination. What happened next? No one could have ever predicted.
Sorry to bother you, darling, but my car broke down a ways up the road, and I was wondering if I might be able to use your phone. Are you all right?
Yeah, fine. Please, come on in. My name is Dan. Dan Jenkins.
I'm Lisa.
Lisa looked nothing like Connie, but that voice and the way she talked. I couldn't believe it. She had Connie's voice. There was no difference at all. Even the rhythm and the words she used. And she went right to the phone and made her call like she'd been to the house before.
They said they can't have a tow truck here for at least an hour. I'm sorry to be a bother to you.
It's no bother, really. Would you like a cup of tea?
Do you have chamomile?
Yeah, I do.
Great.
The tow truck came and went, but Lisa stayed. It was like she was sent from heaven to take Connie's place in my life. Lisa was so much like Connie in every way. She made me want to live again. We got married in the same little chapel that Connie and I were married in. And we were together for 18 wonderful years, just like I was with Connie. And then the unthinkable happened. Lisa contracted a rare blood disease and died on the very day of our 18th wedding anniversary. Just like Connie. I was 54 years old, and for the second time I had lost the love of my life. This time I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. Just lucky to have known two women so remarkably alike. I was even more open to neighbors dropping by. Can I help you?
I'm sorry to bother you, darling, but my car broke down a ways back, and I was wondering if I might be able to use your phone.
Come on in.
How do you judge this story? Do you believe that the spirit of Connie Jenkins was transferred to two other women? If not, why did they talk and act exactly like her? And how did they find their way to Dan's door? Yet we've all encountered various people from the same area of the country who've talked and acted very much alike. Maybe this was just a case of regional similarity. Or is this a much deeper story about the spirit and regeneration of love through the years? Do you think this story is built upon truth? Or are you hearing the familiar voice of deception in your ear?
We'll tell you whether this story is true or false at the end of our show. Next, a reporter is arrested for a crime he didn't commit on Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
If you had to, could you prove where you were at any given time and date? There are certain things that can help you prove it: credit card receipts, calendars, phone bills, etc. What if these weren't available to you, or their authenticity was questionable? If you had no witnesses to back you up, could you really convince the authorities that you were who you claimed to be? And what if they insisted that you were someone else, and they had their own witnesses to back them up? Earl Gallagher is a man who's used to dealing with facts and backing them up. But he's about to learn what happens when the facts begin stacking up against him.
I was the brand new crime reporter for the Detroit Sun-Times, and I was on a deadline. I dropped in on robbery homicide at the local precinct to see if I could sniff out a story. There was a lot of action in Detroit, at least a lot more than there was in Poughkeepsie. I wasn't sure what to expect as far as a reception, but what I got, well, that never would have happened in Poughkeepsie either.
Hey, over there. Call on your report.
That's him. That's the man that robbed my store.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
He's here. Arrest him. Arrest him. Arrest him.
Are you talking about me?
Damn right I'm talking about you. You shoved the gun in my face and robbed my store.
I didn't rob you, man. Back off.
What goal you have to just walk in here?
Buddy, you're nuts.
All right, everybody, let's just calm down. Are you sure this is the man, Mr. Porter?
Oh, yeah, I would never forget a face like that.
It's crazy. My name's Earl Gallagher. I'm a reporter for the Sun-Times. It's my first day on the job. I thought I'd come down and meet everybody. call the paper, check me out.
We'll check out everything. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Let's see some ID.
yeah, sure. I couldn't believe what was happening. Even after my editor vouched for me, this guy Porter kept insisting that I was the one who robbed his liquor store. I was detained until they could take a look at the surveillance tape of the robbery. That's when things went from bad to worse. Believe this?
I told you it was him.
Detective, I swear to God that's not me. It's somebody else that looks exactly like me.
As far as I'm concerned, that's a positive ID.
What?
You're under arrest for armed robbery. I want you to put your hands behind your back. I'm gonna cuff you.
Wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. Look, if I did this, why would I come down here?
Guilty conscience. Maybe you wanted to get caught. It happens all the time.
I don't believe this. I've never been in trouble in my life. I'm a reporter.
Too bad you're not a lawyer.
In the back of my mind, I wondered if I might have blacked out and actually committed the robbery. Maybe there were other crimes that I was involved in too. Maybe that's where these feelings came from.
They just brought a guy in that confessed to that liquor store robbery. Looks like you're off the hook.
I'd like to see him.
They say everybody's got a double. I'd say that's yours.
It was the strangest thing. He needed a shave, a haircut, and a bath, but it was like looking at myself. What's his name?
Jonas Adams.
Jonas Adams. I found Jonas Adams' social security number and was able to trace his history back to the day he was born. When I discovered it, it changed the rest of our lives. Who the hell are you? My name's Earl Gallagher. And, I'm your twin brother. What? I told Jonas about the amazing information that I had uncovered. We both came from the same mother, who gave us up at birth. I was the lucky one. I was adopted right away and raised by loving parents. Jonas told me that he was shuffled from one foster home to another. He suffered a lot of abuse. One thing we both shared was an overwhelming feeling that something was missing from our lives. And now we know what it was. I was able to get my brother a reduced sentence, and then helped him get a job and turn his life around. So that's how it all turned out. Now tell me, do you think this story could have ever happened in Poughkeepsie?
Two brothers who never knew of the other's existence. Obviously, they both inherited the genes necessary to grow up as law-abiding citizens. Yet each grew up on opposite sides of the law. So which is more powerful, environment or heredity? Did this intriguing story of twins separated at birth really happen? And are you able to separate the most identical twins of them all? Fact and fiction.
We'll tell you whether this story is true or false at the end of our show. Next, mystery surrounds the meeting of a trucker and a drifter on Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
In song and stories, they call it the long, lonesome highway. And in fact, of all the problems truckers face on a long haul, loneliness is the hardest to overcome. That's why all these devices are found in most trucks to help pass the time, keep the driver awake. Each designed to break the deep, dark curtain of solitude. But sometimes, the spirit cries out for human contact. Big Joe is a trucker who's about to pick up drifter, Johnny Weber, a young man who relies on the kindness of strangers to get him from place to place. Johnny doesn't know it, but he's in for the strangest ride of his life.
I'd been on my own since I was 14. I couldn't stand the constant fighting at home, so I took off and never looked back. I ended up kicking around from town to town, in and out of trouble. I wasn't really bad, I just never caught a break. Didn't really know or care what state I was in. All I knew was I didn't like the life I was leading, but I didn't know how to change it. I couldn't believe it. I was about to get a ride and I wasn't even hitching.
Hop in!
tell you this, it was one ride I'll never forget.
So how you doing, son? They call me Big Joe.
I'm Johnny. Johnny Weber.
Where are you headed to, Johnny Weber?
I don't know, next town, I guess.
Seeing the country, huh?
I guess.
Yeah, a lot of it to see. Where do you call home?
I haven't had a home for a long time.
Man, you sound just like me when I was about your age. I took off when I was 12. Could not get along with my stepdad. My mom didn't care one way or the other. Boy, I hated her back then. I think I probably understand her a little bit better now. She just didn't want to be alone, that's all. How about you?
Pretty much the same. A lot of drinking and fighting, so I left.
Sounds like we got some things in common. Well, nobody said life was going to be easy, did they, kid?
There was something about Big Joe that I really liked. I was never very talkative, but somehow he made talking easy. I was able to tell him things I never told anyone.
What are you doing to make a living?
Just odd jobs.
Find anything you like yet?
Not really.
You will.
I wish I was as sure as you are.
No, I kicked around myself for a long time. And one day, out of the blue, somebody offered me $100 to drive a big rig cross country. It changed my life. Truck driving may not sound like much to some people, but I love what I do.
That's great. You're lucky.
We're all lucky, kid. You, me, everybody. I just need to realize it. That's the hard part.
You need gas?
No, this is your stop, son.
I wouldn't mind just hanging out with you for a while.
Sorry, but I'm almost home. This is where you get off.
Thanks for the ride.
Good luck to you, Johnny Weber.
I had to admit, I was feeling kind of hurt inside. I couldn't understand why Big Joe let me out of his truck when he did. For a quick second, I thought about ripping off the cash register. Something stopped me.
Somebody help me. Help me!
Don't worry, I'll get you out of there.
Oh, no, Jack! Try to Jack!
Jack's busted! Hurry!
Take me out!
I tried to find something I could use to lift the car, but there was nothing. And he wasn't going to last much longer. I tried with all my might to lift it, but it wouldn't budge. And that's when I saw him standing next to me.
Big Joe!
Hey, kid.
We can't lift it, it's too heavy!
Come on, let's go try. Come on. Come on.
You're clear, now push yourself out!
Saved his life, kid. How'd you do it?
Well, me and this trucker, we lifted the car by hand.
Oh, trucker, you kidding?
Yeah, he dropped me off here, and for some reason, he came back to help me. His name was Big Joe.
Big Joe? What did he look like?
Huge guy, short, gray hair, mustache. I mean, I never could have lifted it without him. What's wrong?
There was a trucker, lived down the road. His name was Big Joe Cunningham. He had short gray hair and a mustache. About 5 years ago, a school bus full of kids hit a patch of ice and skidded towards his rig. He swerved to avoid him and ran off the road. Kids survived, but he didn't make it. He died saving those kids. You sure the trucker who helped you was named Big Joe?
Maybe not. That day changed my life. I settled in a nearby town and got a job driving big rigs cross country. I love what I do, just like Big Joe.
Did Johnny Weber meet up with another trucker who fit the description of Big Joe? If so, isn't it too much of a coincidence to think he had the same name, too? Was the spirit of Big Joe actually with Johnny, helping him to lift the vehicle? Johnny wasn't strong enough to lift it by himself. Then again, people have been known to call upon superhuman strength in times of crises. Is this story of the strange truck driver based on an actual event? Or are we taking you down the wrong road again?
We'll tell you whether this story is true or false at the end of our show. Next, a strange spirit invades a family cookout on Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
What's more representative of the American fabric of life these days than the outdoor barbecue? It's a perfect opportunity for people to come together to share food, exchange stories, and relive memories. The family in our story is about to have their yearly reunion. Different generations traveling hundreds of miles to share the bonds of family spirit. But at this barbecue, family spirit will have a whole new meaning.
Every year at the end of August, my wife Clarissa and I throw a family reunion barbecue in our backyard. Relatives from all over come to our house to show off their kids, enjoy each other's company, and eat food off the grill. And believe me, our family can eat.
So, how's that new barbecue coming?
I'll be ready when you are.
Good.
This year was different. We all tried to put on a happy face, but the sudden passing of everyone's favorite uncle, Harry, left us feeling pretty sad inside. Harry was also the cook, and now I was
great
ready to
looking
eat.
barbecue, Evan. Is that new?
Yeah, it was a gift from Uncle Harry. He bought it for us just before he died.
What a great guy.
Yeah, he was the best. That's how it was all day. Every one of us thinking about Harry.
Aunt Ruthie! Aunt Ruthie! Be careful. You're tossing salad all over the floor.
Oh, okay, I'm done. Well, there's plenty left, don't worry. I'll be in the living room watching my soap. You know, I already missed the first 5 minutes. Oh, have little Jimmy bring me a plate when the food's ready.
You bet. She'll never change.
Yeah. Here we go. Here comes.
Sorry.
Evan, do you think you could take a time out and light the barbecue, please?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got caught up in the game.
Just light the barbecue, honey. What's wrong?
I don't know. Should light right up.
Well, maybe you should ask Ralphie for some help. Well, did you read the directions?
Yes, I read the directions. I just turned this valve, I did that, and then I pushed the button, and I should be in business. But I'm not.
Well, listen, Evan, everyone's really hungry, so maybe we should just get the other barbecue.
Yeah, maybe we should. Whoa. That was weird.
Well, maybe it just needed a little time or something.
Whatever. Now we are in business.
Evan?
Okay. La, la, la. Oh, yeah.
Maybe that one's got my name on it.
Oh, yeah. Look at these beauties. This is a great grill.
You are doing a great job. Uncle Harry would be proud of you.
Yeah, I really do miss him.
I know. We all miss him. He was a wonderful man. Okay, everybody, it's time to eat.
Let's put this thing.
You know, I like mine medium rare.
Yeah, I know, Phil. I'm making one special just for you.
I'll make it two. I'm starving.
Okay.
Hey, what's with the grill?
I don't know, it's acting really strange.
Boys, I call the fire department. Get the hose. I'm gonna get the hose. Okay, I got the hose. What?
What the hell?
What?
Guys.
I don't know what to tell you. The barbecue here seems to be in perfect working order.
Perfect working order. Well, how did flames jump 6 feet into the air?
I honestly don't know. I don't know, maybe the wind fanned it.
Oh, it wasn't the wind. It was unreal.
Wait! Wait! Don't anybody eat anything! My soap's just been interrupted with a news bulletin. There's an emergency recall for E. coli tainted hamburger meat, and the number matches these packages that were in the kitchen.
God, that fire saved us.
It wasn't the fire. It was Uncle Harry.
Was the strange barbecue fire just an accident? If so, then how do you explain the fact that the grill seemed to be in perfect working order? Or what about the mysterious behavior of the barbecue lid? Could it be that Uncle Harry was watching over his family and protecting them from the contaminated meat? It's now up to you to answer whether this story is fact or fiction, and take your time. We promise not to grill you.
We'll tell you whether this story is true or false at the end of our show. Next, a move to a new house reveals unexpected danger on Beyond Belief, fact or fiction.
How many ways do you protect your own home? There are devices available to warn you about smoke, carbon monoxide, intruders. But can a home ever be truly safe? Devices can malfunction, batteries go dead. What protects you then? Is it luck, fate, or happenstance that determines our true security? The Miller family has just moved into a new residence, and for the moment, all seems safe and sound. But they're about to find out that security may be just an illusion.
Fred and I wanted to move out of the city and live along the New England coast. After a lot of searching, we finally found the perfect house just outside Booth Bay Harbor.
Careful, honey.
Being extremely careful.
Careful.
Kristen was our only child, and it was hard for her to leave all her friends behind. But Fred and I agreed that the country was a much better place to grow up than the city.
Really is a nice landscape.
I fell in love with an oil painting that we found in the cellar. It was signed by the original owner of the house, Margaret Whitney.
She's beautiful.
Who's beautiful, Kristen?
The lady.
Is that a new imaginary friend?
I don't think so.
Don't worry, honey. You are going to make lots of friends. It just takes a little time. Okay? I was beginning to feel at home in our new house, and I especially liked the spot Fred picked for the painting. It felt perfect.
There is a ton of firewood back there. Where's Kristen?
In bed. I told you you'd be out to kiss her goodnight.
Is she all right?
She misses her friends. I think that's why she made up that imaginary playmate.
I'll take her some time to adjust. She'll be fine. How you doing?
I love the house. And I don't miss the city at all.
Yeah, me neither.
How did that happen?
The wire must have broke.
No, the wire's fine.
That's a good draft.
It must have just fallen off the nail or something. That night, I remember thinking about the painting and all the feelings it seemed to cause that day. And then that strange occurrence when it fell off the wall. I kept drifting in and out of sleep.
Save her. Please, save her. Joyce, save her.
Who are you? What do you want?
Your little girl needs you. Go to her. Hurry.
What's wrong? Who are you talking to?
Someone... Dear God, Kristen.
What's wrong? Oh my God, the house is on fire.
Kristen! We're coming, honey! Kristen! Kristen! Daddy! Daddy!
We're here.
Hurry, Fred, hurry!
Well, like I was telling you folks, there's a lot of smoke damage, but the structure's solid.
Man, what a mess.
Yeah, lucky you got your little girl out when you did. She's okay, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, she's fine. We dropped her off at school. Didn't want her to see all of this.
Must have had an angel watching over you.
Yeah, we must have.
Hey, Fred, I could barely recognize it. It was charred from the fire.
Look at this. It's the painting from the living room.
How'd it get in here?
Well, maybe one of my guys carried it up. Don't know why they would.
What's this? Oh my God. That's the woman that warned me about the fire.
How could that be?
I don't know.
The woman in the painting was identified as Margaret Whitney, the original owner of the house. She had covered her self-portrait and painted the landscape over it. We also learned that 50 years ago, a fire swept throughout the house. Margaret survived, but couldn't save her young daughter, who was the same age as our Kristen. A few months after the fire, Margaret Whitney died, having never recovered from the loss of her little girl.
Was the house the Millers moved into really possessed by the spirit of the original owner? And did her spirit finally find peace after saving the Millers' daughter? Or was the daughter actually saved by a mother's intuitive dream? By the way, nobody in the Miller household recalls moving the painting up into Kristen's room. So how did it get there? How do you judge this story of the mysterious lady found under the painting? Is it reality? Or just another cover-up?
Next, you'll find out which of our stories are fact and which are fiction when Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction returns.
Now it's time to find out which of our stories are inspired by actual events and which ones are totally made up. How did you judge the story of the man whose first wife's spirit kept reappearing in the bodies of other women? Fact or fiction?
How's my little darling, huh? Oh, that wing's getting better every day. Yeah, pretty soon you're gonna be leaving us. But I hate to see you go.
Hey. You okay?
Yeah. Nothing really.
If you guessed this one was true, we got you. This story was made up by a writer. What was your opinion of the tale of mistaken identity and a long-lost twin?
He just brought a guy in that confessed to that liquor store robbery. Looks like you're off the hook.
I'd like to see him.
They say everybody's got a double. I'd say that's yours.
If you thought this one was inspired by an actual event, you're right. A similar incident happened to a pair of twins in the New York area in the early 80s. Now let's look back at the ghost of the dead truck driver who gave a young man a new lease on life. True or false?
Joe, we can't lift it, it's too heavy.
Come on, let's try it. Come on, come on.
You're clear enough, push yourself out.
Did you think this was a story that was rooted in facts? Not this time. It's an urban legend. Let's look back at the family reunion saved from disaster by a mysterious barbecue grill. Reality or falsehood?
Hey, what's with the grill?
It's acting really strange. What's it called? Fire department. I'm gonna get the hose. Okay, I got the hose.
Did you think our research uncovered this story as real? You're right. It shows it happened to a family in the Florida area in the late 80s. Let's take another look at the ghostly woman who sent two parents a warning message that saved a little girl's life.
Your little girl needs you. Go to her. Hurry.
What's wrong? Who are you talking to?
Someone... Dear God, Kristen.
What's wrong?
God.
Did you think this one really happened? According to our research, a similar event did take place in the farm country of the American Northeast. How accurate was your point of view tonight? Were you able to judge which stories were false and which were inspired by actual events? It's a challenge that's beset by many obstacles because dishonesty and deception are often difficult to recognize. And the more we're confronted with truth, the more we realize that it's very often beyond belief. I'm Jonathan Frakes.
The stories entitled Positive ID and Cookout are true based upon first-hand research conducted by author Robert Trelins. For Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, this is Don LaFontaine.